Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I'm going to talk about the Oblivion Remaster. That kind of came out of the blue, didn't it? If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I'm going to dive right in. Oblivion, the Remastered Edition, caught me completely off guard. I happened to see a picture on Facebook with a Roman numeral 4 on a weird mask, and I thought, they can't possibly be talking about Elder Scrolls, can they? Well, of course they were. But far more shocking was the fact that it pretty much just was available immediately upon the Twitch stream happening. I was very surprised. I was not going to buy it because I beat Oblivion all those years ago. I'm not even going to say how many it is because I just don't want to. But I beat it back then, and some of it was really just not very pleasant. It wasn't like I disliked the game. I loved the game because I beat it, but there were parts that I was like, you know what? I'm glad I never have to do that again. So when it came out, I was like, ooh, ouch. So there are a lot of cool things about the remaster. Now, how do I know? Because I have Game Pass, and it was offered for free on that, or, part of your subscription, I guess. And so I threw it on. It's 119 gigs, which was a little surprising. It uses the Unreal 5 engine. They boosted it up to 60 frames per second. It's got 4K. And quite frankly, it does look amazing. It looks really, really, really good. They've improved quite a few things. I've got a list here because some of these I didn't even know after playing it. I didn't really catch any of this stuff. Obviously, we've got the new improved graphics, just mentioned that. They added character origins. So apparently in the original version, you had to pick between a male or female version of your character, and those would have different abilities. They've corrected that so that now you can pick either gender, but then a origin of your chosen race will give you the bonuses that used to be applied to the gender. So I guess that Argonians were smarter as females and faster as males or whatever. Yeah, they did that for some reason. Anyway, so that's different. They've updated the UI. I quite frankly don't really remember the UI from Oblivion, so having it be different didn't really mean much to me. Apparently they moved the compass, the stats, your health, magicka, and stamina are in a different place. Inventory screen sort of lets you bounce between different things. Again, I didn't even know that would have been a thing because it has been a long freaking time. Okay, I'm going to say the number of years. I think it was 19 years. So 19 years ago, I played this game. A lot of this stuff I didn't even remember. So leveling up, I got to level 2 and I see the little icon that says, hey, you can level up. So I'm looking everywhere and I'm like, how do I level up? I completely forgot. So apparently you got to go to bed. Even just an hour in bed will allow you to level up. Fine, whatever. But apparently the way it used to work, and I vaguely remember this, is that you would basically have to level up minor skills. And as you did, you'd get more points towards your next level. And if you neglected certain skills, then you could kind of gimp yourself. But the new version of the game allows you to pick 3 different attributes each level and boost them with a number of these. They just call them virtue points. Yeah, virtue points. And that allows you to have more control over how your character gets built. You can sprint now. If you do it in third person mode, your character looks like they're ice skating. It's pretty cheesy. There's some new voice lines, and that's mostly because in the original, they just didn't have as much capacity to do a whole bunch of voices, and now they have fixed that. There are a ton of other little tiny things here and there, but for the most part, I think those are probably the biggest, most noticeable changes. Other things are much more minor and kind of behind the scenes in some regards. They did try to keep a lot of the charm from the original game, and so there's that. Now, I did find that it's pretty funny. I found an article that says Oblivion Remastered sure has a lot of brown. I don't remember it looking this muddy, and that was from Polygon.com. Tyler Culp wrote that. And what's amusing is that I have a friend on Facebook who is playing the game, and the first thing he did was he found a mod that cleaned up the mud so it didn't look quite as murky and just kind of dingy. It really did make it look like a postcard from the Pacific Northwest. For my part, I did enjoy some of it. I thought it was neat to revisit, and it looks so much better that it was kind of neat to sort of dive into it. Now, my prediction for myself was that I would load it up, get some initial nostalgia high, and then quickly remember a lot of the things that kind of annoyed me from a 19-year-old game and either lose interest or become frustrated. Mostly, I'd say I'm sort of ambivalent. I'm not really frustrated and I haven't really lost interest. It just feels unnecessary and also like a bit of a cash grab. Now, to be perfectly fair, on Steam, there's 14,000 plus reviews and currently it's standing at very positive. So I think that it did have a good impact. And, to the people who are really looking forward to this particular remaster, I'm so glad that it's there for you. I kind of wish that Bethesda would stop re-envisioning, remastering, retouching their products over and over again and focus on something new, like, I don't know, maybe Elder Scrolls 6. But I'm pretty sure that's a pipe dream at this point, considering that last attempt for them to show something off about it got ridiculed, and I guess it looked terrible and it was really old and on and on and on. So they tend to get good reviews about their remasters. Maybe they should remaster Starfield and see how that does for them. Maybe they could revitalize some interest in that. Oblivion Remastered does have a lot of great things going for it. But for me, a few things were a little clunky. Combat was okay, but having just come off of Avowed and some of the powers and skills in that. So I was using a sword and shield in that game, and you can bash people with your shield. You could dodge around. It's a lot more dynamic. And going back to the Oblivion style where you can't actually use your shield to hit people and you just lift it and hope that you get the guy to hit it and smack people with your sword, and trying to block in between hits is clunky and slow. It just didn't feel very good by comparison. Now, if I could divorce myself from a brand new modern game trying to do roughly the same thing, I probably wouldn't be quite as critical of Oblivion because, frankly, it paved the way for games like Avowed in many aspects. So while Avowed probably did stand on the shoulders of the Bethesda games and created something new, going back is always difficult because you're like, yeah, I really had fun playing this, but there's a lot of quality of life stuff that has just happened in gaming in general that isn't in Oblivion. A great example is that when you first leave the dungeon, it is super cool. Don't get me wrong. You walk outside and I had that same joy that I did when I left a vault the first time or when I left to go out and see the world of Morrowind. When you leave the first cavern and you step out into their wide world where you could just go in a direction and visit stuff, that's always really cool. However, that initial just joy kind of wears off when you start walking and you're really, quite frankly, slow. And you're just moving along, plodding to the next place, getting attacked by random mud crabs and wolves. And every fort is completely dilapidated, which is something that I actually forgot about. I don't remember the world being quite so, desiccated. And finding the first village just to sell all my stuff. Because, when you're running around where the Emperor basically lets you go and you're in all those caverns, I got overloaded really quick and I made a warrior character. So it was a little intense that I would have all this stuff and not really have anywhere to get rid of it. Like I couldn't just go to a town and sell it right away. I had to basically roam around and gotten quite a few more fights, which, it reminded me of the original game, getting to get out there and experience some of the world. But I didn't really want to go into caverns or dungeons because, again, my inventory was full and I wanted to make sure that I at least got something for it. All that said, I can't say that Oblivion isn't worth getting. I can say that I think $50 is a high price tag. Granted, they have obviously done some pretty serious work, but this is a 19-year-old game. A lot of people have already beaten it. If you haven't, if you never played it before, then absolutely. $50, totally worth it. It's got enough new that the kind of lingering old stuff probably won't bother you too much. But if you have beaten it before, as in you played the heck out of it the first time, maybe even 2 or 3 times, I think it would be really hard to justify the price of this because there's just so many games to play. There's so much available that you could replay again, modern stuff with more quality of life and that sort of thing. I guess that if you are just a sucker for nostalgia or you really, really love the Elder Scrolls world and you just got to experience it again, $50 would be okay. And I'm really harping on that because to play it on Xbox Game Pass, if you already have it and it being free, that feels like it's totally worth it. Now, of course, I'm not paying extra money for it, so why wouldn't it be worth it? But however you feel about it, I guess I'd caution someone to spend the money right away, or make sure you buy it on Steam so that you can really see if those first 2 hours grab you the way you hope. Because it may be that you get in there and you're like, oh my gosh, it's Oblivion again. And then you'll just peter off and be like, yeah, it's Oblivion again. I mean, I loved it the first time, but it may feel like old ground that you've already tread and you just don't need to retread it again, especially for that price tag. There are so many games that are brand new, that are even fantasy games, that probably deserve our money more than Bethesda, especially since Bethesda just can't get their hands off of making new editions. I mean, I looked it up and Skyrim has 4 official editions, the original version, some kind of anniversary edition, a special edition, and the VR version. I guess an argument could be made that there's even more than that. And I would hate to see them do this with Oblivion and then Morrowind, and then even, God forbid, they go back and try and mess with Daggerfall. I have to do a video about Daggerfall. I've got some really hilarious experiences with them. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I can't say it's bad. I had fun playing it while I did. I just don't know that it's worth that big old price tag. But what do you think? Do you think it's worth the money? Have you had a great time with it? Are you looking forward to beating it again? Let me know in the comments and let's have a chat. Anyway, this is Robert with Society Case Files, signing off.